regardless of our, if there's religious differences, if there's cultural differences, if there's, race and ethnicity differences, whatever, it doesn't matter. We can set that aside and look at the person.
Fine girls won't come my way, but you're still the one I want to. So many girls won't block my way, but you're still the...
Hi guys, welcome to Nadifa Said.
So previously we had a video about Africans versus African Americans, and we got a lot of comments and a lot of feedback in regards to that video. And today we wanted to talk about how you can be African, you can be African American and get along. So there's going to be the differences, why people say that you can't get along, and then we'll also talk about why the two of us get along. So
we're going to be building bridges today.
Yes.
So how do we get along, Zach?
I think that we get along because we're open-minded. We know that the more you get exposure with people, you can't just lump everybody into one group. If you have a bad experience with one person or a few people, or even a lot of people from a certain group, you can't say they're all like that. I mean, you can, but I think it's irresponsible to make that type of gross generalization and say they're all that way because you've had some bad experiences with, a certain demographic. So I think just the desire to bring people together, being open-minded is one, wanting to build bridges and connect people, bring people together from different backgrounds, different walks of life, different life experiences. I don't know, I think that we believe that, we work better together, we're stronger if we work together. Plus we're social scientists,
yes.
With our sociology background, anthropology, that stuff, just wanting to understand society and people and how all of these things work together. I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with it. And when I first met him, it was in sociology class, and he said that he was a YouTuber, and I'm like, oh, I do YouTube too, I just started. And we just we're talking about it, and then next thing you know, now it's how many months do we even, is it a year?
Not quite a year.
Not quite a year.
It feels like it.
It feels like
I've known you forever.
Yes. So it feels like I know him for a long time. Now we're working together. We're starting a whole nonprofit. Together, and it's about bringing people together. And it's crazy, and we think we're almost like twins.
Yeah, it's my sister.
Yeah, it's we're in the same page a lot of times. Now we're best friends.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're starting this organization. We're everywhere together. So we're making YouTube videos together. So it's I have learned how to get off my comfort zone and make friends with people that are from a different background, and he's always wanting to learn about different things, and I'm the same way. So I'm learning from him, and he's learning from me.
Okay.
And so far, it's been a great journey. We haven't gotten to an argument yet, guys.
We're both social butterflies. We generally like people, and I mean, don't get us wrong. Some people, this is get on our nerves, but we like people, and we want to hear their stories. We have patience, Some people do be testing our patience, but so I think that open-mindedness, building bridges, being social butterflies, and just regardless of our, if there's religious differences, if there's cultural differences, if there's, race and ethnicity differences, whatever, it doesn't matter. We can set that aside and look at the person for who they are. As Martin Luther King would say, the content of their character, not the color of their skin. That's how, we judge people, or at least view people. So I have heard stories about, Africans say when they first came to America, they got picked on more by African Americans, calling them African booty scratcher, or because they had an accent, or because their skin was darker, and all these things. And then, I've heard them say, and I've seen in comments, and just people saying that if anything, the white kids were friendlier than the African American kids. And then a few people said like they would low blow the African Americans and say, well, at least my ancestors wasn't slaves, and then the African Americans would be, they'll, kind of get in their feelings about that, be like, hey, you went too far.
You went too far, yeah.
But sometimes you can say that's just kids being kids, picking on each other, bullying each other. But this whole like Africans and African Americans can't get along thing, I think that's what it is. People personalize something that happened to them, some type of trauma or some type of like situation or incident that happened when they were younger, and then they just generalize the whole group of people and say like, I can't ever get along with them because they did this to me. Like if you look at the commentaries, you would see people say like, when I was in school, this happened to me. And then they'll say like, African Americans ain't.
Africans are this.
or Africans are, so I think people personalize it and go off of some incidents that happen, and then they just group the whole entire culture or the whole people together. And I think that's unfair to do that.
It is very unfair. But yeah, I love my African Americans.
Yeah, I love my Africans. Like some of my best friends, like growing up, is African Americans, Africans, Puerto Ricans. Like that's pretty much, that was the neighborhood we grew up in. And then we moved in a bunch of different places, but it don't matter to me. Like it's just, people are people, and at the end of the day, people help each other, then we can all get along.
I think those are some of the few things that we did. Like just be open-minded about everything, if there's something that an African is doing that is like that is not normal to you, instead of just saying, well, like, oh, that African is doing this and they're dumb, or just go and ask that person like, why are you eating with your hands?
Communication.
Yeah. Why are you doing this? Why do you smell like that? And like I felt like people need to learn, and a lot of time is, I know asking questions are good, but you have to know how to phrase your question, because that might come like, that might come as like, why are you coming for me, or you being disrespectful. So always try to be nice, and like think about the question that you're gonna ask that person. Like if I came and asked you that, if somebody come and ask you that question, how you gonna feel about it? Are you gonna be angry? Are you gonna be upset? So put yourself in that shoes first before you go in and like, go and talk to somebody. So that's one thing that I've always learned how to do is, if I'm gonna ask a question to Zach, and I'm like, well, let me ask that question to myself. How am I gonna feel about it if Zach asks me? If I feel like it's gonna come out like wrong, then I'm gonna rethink that, that whole thing. But yeah, so we're kind of like, I want to see this happen with all of us.
Yes, that's the challenge. That's gonna be our challenge. See if like more, especially YouTube creators, or even if you're not a YouTube creator, just like communication. Go out of your way, even if it's out of your comfort zone, and build these relationships and have these conversations. Like you said, I was speaking to, I forgot who it was, but they said that, was it you? That like when you're cooking, sometimes the ingredients is so strong that sometimes it hair carries scent. So like, clothes and all that. So like, if you're cooking, then the food scent gets into your clothes and your hair, and then people be like, oh, it smells like, like what's that smell? Like, oh, it's, that's like, because of the food.
I had Mexican food last night, and I didn't want my family to know that I went out to eat by myself. But when I came home, they were like, you smell like rice. You smell like beans. And then my brother was like, it's burritos.
Busted.
So certain food will, like, it's hard, So like when we did that video and people were saying, African, they smell, or, they have a very, it's the food. It's the food. It's just, the food be tasting mad good, but damn, like, once we get at the house, and it's just, you can smell through our clothes, our hair, but it's not everybody. But yeah, I think that's a good challenge, get out there and make friends. A lot of my friends are not even people from my country, are not people from my religion. I'm like very diverse, like I'm international. I like to make friends from different. I'm learning to, instead of like going on Google and asking Google how like African Americans do or like how they feels about this. I have Zach. He's my Wikipedia. You know, about all, you know, not all African Americans, but for the most part, he would tell me something that makes perfect sense. And
we get Africans and African Americans, we get along. Point blank period. We get along. So this whole why can't Africans and African Americans get along? Like, to me, that's just an urban legend or a myth. And the reason I'm saying it is because I'm putting that out there in the universe, because even if it was something like that in the past or whatever, it's not happening now. Like, I'm not gonna let that happen. Like, I'm gonna go out of my way to try to continue to be a bridge builder in the community.
we already have the world fighting against us. People,
we don't need any more.
We don't need any more of that. Like, I don't need to come
Division.
and fight with Zach when that's what people want us to do, is not, you know, make us look like we're just dogs and we're just fighting with each other. And I'm not gonna let anybody else get that and get to see that. So no, if I hate Zach, I'm gonna love Zach in public. I'm gonna love him by force, just so people know that it's all love over here. The media's already doing that for us. People are already doing that for us. No, we don't need to do that.
Thank you for saying that.
So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're putting it in the universe. We're putting it out there right now that Africans and African Americans get along. If anybody say anything else, that's false. They just making stuff up. We get along. So, you know, if you say like, do all Africans get along? Like, there's so many different countries, and then within those countries, there's so many different tribes, right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, compare that to the United States. It's so many different states that Black Americans are in, and then within that, it's so many different cities within those states, and like even within states, you know, like I'm from Michigan, and I'm from Grand Rapids, you know, so like there would be people that say like, oh, I'm from Detroit, oh, I'm from Saginaw, oh, I'm from Kalamazoo, oh, I'm from, you know, Pontiac. Like, even within that could be, you know, that could be some division, you know, but like, you know, you got to think bigger, you know, like we all in this together and we are united and not divided.
We get along, period.
Yes.
Right, that's it.
Anything else that you hear,
anything else you hear,
don't believe it.
Don't
It's
believe
uncivilized.
it. We love each other, okay?
Yeah.
By fire, by force. So you guys have a good day, and thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, comment. You know, I would love for you guys to give us suggestions on like what videos to make next, like what issues you want us to talk about. We can talk about anything. Just let us know in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe to his channel. I'll put the description down below. And you guys have a good day. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Peace.
Love, smiles, True Galaxy.
True
I'm
Galaxy.
Zachary.